That, and then that, and then boop, 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 boop. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's nighttime. Zaf just logged off. It is about 9:15 for me. Is he booming in the nether? I think I'm rescuing someone. This way's long. Let's take the boat. Where did he go down? I don't think he went this way. Seems like the opposite direction of which he'd go. Let's go get our Johnny. There he is. Johnny!
Hello?
Johnny!
Hello?
Look.
Look for what?
The wrong way. Brother. I'm right next to you.
Oh,
oh, look at that!
Oh.
Isn't that lucky?
Why, thank you.
Okay, let's go straight up.
Okay.
What are you doing? Johnny? Uh-oh.
Sorry, I was on a call.
Don't go that way.
I was being asked a question.
Apparently, somehow I made the lava re-divert itself this way. For a split momentary second. That was weird. I don't even know how I did that. But okay. Lava's being goofy. Get this way. I'll lead you home.
Oh yeah.
You are my fire. Sing it with me. I want desire.
I'll have food.
Believe when I say I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why ain't nothing but a mistake. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say I want it that way. Beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's a staircase down. I was wondering how you got down.
Yeah.
Let's fill
I
up
think
that
that's
hole.
the way I went, but I ended up there somehow.
Hey, look, I got a boat. You're not wearing any. Get in the boat.
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Oh, that portal, that hallway on the right is to my farm. That's to my farm. Isn't the boat really nice and fast? Okay.
Yeah.
Go have some fun.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We rescued him. We're gonna just like that. We're gonna be reading from the Bibles. I was supposed to respond to a text, but I forgot. Okay, so we are reading. Dude, we're only on day 15 of this. Oof. 3 months in, only on day 15. This is going to take us a while. Genesis 31:17 through 32:12. And then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels. And he carried away all of his livestock and all of his possessions which he had gained, his acquired livestock which he had gained in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel to stolen. Wait, what? Where am I? The shear sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away unknown to Laban, and in Laban the Syrian. In that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed towards the mountains of Gilead. And Laban was told on the 3rd day that Jacob had fled. Then he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey. And he overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Syrian in the dream by night and said to him, "Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad." So Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mountains of Gilead. Hi, Outlaw. Oh, we in Genesis? Yeah, we're going through the Bible in a year, and we're still in Genesis. And Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done that you have stolen away an unknown to me, and carried away with my daughters like captives taken with a sword? Why did you flee away secretly and steal away from me, and not tell me? For I might have sent you away with joy and song, with timbrel and harp. And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and daughters. Now you have done foolishly in doing so. It is in my power to do you harm, but then God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, 'Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad.' And now you have surely gone, because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?" Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, "Because I was afraid, for I said, perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force. With whomever you find your gods, do not let them live in the presence of our brethren. Identify what I have of yours, and take it with you." For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. One of the Discord servers I'm in, we're going through the whole Bible, and Apricot. Your next session, you'll be starting Exodus. I almost read that as Exodius. Um, 36. Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban. Wait. My bad. And Laban went into Jacob's tent, into Leah's tent, and into the two maidens' tents, and he did not find them. Then he went out to Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols, put them in a camel's saddle, and sat on them. And Laban searched all about the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, "Let it not displease my lord, that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of women is with me." And he searched, but did not find the household idols. Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, "What is my trespass? That is my sin, that you have hotly pursued me. Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Set it here before my brethren and your brethren, that we may judge between us both. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young, and I have not eaten the rams of your flock. That which was torn by the beast I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it. You require it from my hands, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was. In the day the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from my eyes. Thus I have been in your house for 20 years. I served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flock. And you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father and the God of Abraham and the fear of Isaac and had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my afflictions and the labors of my hands, and rebuked you last night. Like Acts/Peter in the book of Enoch, a lot of trickery in Laban and Jacob. Yeah, Laban is just a terrible father-in-law. And Laban answered and said to Jacob, "These daughters of mine are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock. All that you have seen is mine, but what can I do to say to you, these my daughters, or to their children, whom they have borne? Now therefore come, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let us be a witness between you and me." So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar, and Jacob said to his brethren, "Gather stones," and they gathered stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. Laban called it I don't even care to pronounce that. But Jacob called it Galaad. And Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me to this day." Before its name was called Galaad, also Mizpah, because you said, "May the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives besides my daughters, although that no man is with us, see, God is witness between you and me." What I want to know is how far drunk or out of it was Jacob that he did not realize it was Leah that he was marrying and not Rachel. I'm going to presume it was really dark, and they also didn't have glasses. So, and it doesn't explicitly say that Jacob had bad eyesight, but they could have been very similar looking sisters. Like, I've seen some brothers that look pretty identical that aren't twins. So, you know, drunk, late at night, dark, bad eyesight, and they looked close enough that it happens. That is, I have to say that everything had to be stacked against him. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Here is this heap in which this is my pillar, which I have placed between you and me. This is a heap. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I shall not pass beyond this heap to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and my pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham, the God of Nahor, and the God of the fathers judge between us." And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called to his brethren to eat bread. And they ate bread, and they stayed on the mountain all night. And early in the morning Laban arose and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned to his place. We're on to chapter 32. Dude, I sure hope we're going to get done with Genesis. Genesis is a slog, I tell you what. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." And he called the name of the place Mahanaim. Then Jacob sent his messengers before him to Yeshua, his brother, in the land of Siri, or Sir, the country of Edom, and he commanded them, saying, "Speak thus to my lord Esau, thus your servants Jacob said, I have dwelt in the Laban, and stayed there until now. I have oxen, donkey, flocks, male and female servants, and I have sent them all to my lord, that I may find favor in your sight." Then the messenger returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Yeshua, and he is also coming to meet you with 400 men, and 400 men are with him." So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and the herds of the camels into 2 companies, and he said, "If Yeshua comes to take one company and attack, then let the other company which is left will escape." Then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who is with me, return to your country and to your family, and I will dwell with you, and I will deal well with you. I am not worthy of at least all these mercies and of all the truth of which you have shown your servant, for I have crossed over the Jordan with my staff, and I have become 2 companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother and from the hand of Yeshua, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me, my brother and my mother with the children. For you said, I will surely treat you well, and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for the multitudes." Here we go. I got a DM somewhere? Huh. That guy never pings his Discord, and it's all in Japanese, so I'll translate that later. I mean, he realized after they had their maritals, he was like, "What the frick was I supposed to do marrying Rachel, not Leah?" Then Laban was like, "Oh, it's a custom for the younger daughter to be married off before the older one." Yeah, that guy wasn't cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple of different things today. 1 is Bible Jeopardy, and 2 is a hallway. So, what I need to do is I need to go back to my base and pick up some stuff. I lost on Jeopardy, baby. Ooh, I lost on Jeopardy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this. I need signs, and then I think I want like an orange wood, which would be acacia. Yeah, I have plenty of acacia, so we're gonna grab some acacia. I need a lot of barrels. That should be plenty. I put these away in there, and then this goes over in here, right? Nope. Nope. There we go. And then I want a couple of lecterns. I need to look at a Jeopardy set. Oh, yes, the Weird Owl. Yep. Jeopardy set. Because there's like multiple Jeopardy sets, so I want like the really old one. Yeah, this one. The orange themed one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what I thought. So I now have. You're a big fan of Weird Al? Sweet. So I'm going to try and kind of have like a fun little border. I need some black. Okay, I'm going to take some smooth sandstone, but I also need some black concrete, I think. I want black or do. We're going to go with gray concrete. I think gray will be good enough. And then also, it seems like you have similar taste in anime. I had to go through and like refine that a bit, but I'm going to be honest, I actually stopped watching anime a few years ago. I know. Wild, isn't it? I'm going to need some signs. Signs would be in here. What do I have to work with? How many signs? Not a lot. We're going to need more than that. So let's put this away. And then what signs do I want? I want blue, which would be warped stuff, which would be, nope, not that. Here. 1, 2, 3. I think that's 12. I sure hope that's enough. Let's see. Did I have any warp signs in here? I did have some warp signs. That should be enough then. Eight is so not enough. I cannot do math. I need to do... Man, I thought I made more signs per set, but apparently I was wrong. 14 should be plenty. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I'm still gonna bring this with, just in case there's some decorational stuff in there that I want. And then, I want some blue. Well, don't know about you. I'm starting to think there might be enough blue. Is there any blue in here? There's not. I'm gonna put that away. Okay. I'm thinking... I'm also going to want some orangish red concrete later. But I think this is a good... No, I think I want... We're going to take some white. I'm going to want some white concrete, and we're going to actually just start loading up this. I want blue, gray. I want a little bit of white. I can use red. But I want orange. How much orange dye do I have? A lot. So we're going to take that. We're going to take half a stack of that. And then we're going to take half a stack of this. Combine it with the orange dye. That should be enough. And I need a bucket for some water. Okay. I'm trying to make the old retro set for Jeopardy. And I think it's going to be fun. Animes that I like, I liked No Game No Life, but looking back, I can't like justify recommending No Game No Life or like what's the other one? Food Wars, because I watched both those and I enjoyed them, but I realized that I think I just enjoyed them for the wrong reasons back then. So can't really recommend those. But I can recommend like Shield Hero. I think Shield Hero is good. I hate Philo. I absolutely despise that character. I want Philo 12 feet under. I'm so happy they wrote her out in the most recent season. Or whoever the creator was, just was like, that character's gone for now. Like, thank you, a blessing from the heavens. Oh. So I think this might be a little plain, but I think it's going to be kind of fun. So I'm going to go over here and we're going to build a game show set. That's the whole reason why I built this part of the island out. It's because I wanted to host the game show. I think I want to build it right here somewhere. I don't want it. Right here looks great. So we're going to start out here and we're just going to go like this. For a starting point, because I don't know how big I'm going to make this area, so we're just going to start off with that. I think that's probably a decent starting size. We're just going to actually cut this all the way over. We're just going to remove this huge section. I have like a vague idea of how I want it to be built in my mind, but I don't have like a concrete. So we're going to be partially designing this as we go. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. So I think I want to go. Actually, I'm gonna bring it in one. Like that. Actually, yeah, that's probably fine. This is probably fine now. So this is gonna be where the audience is. So the audience will be chilling over here. This is where the audience is. This Jeopardy is slightly curved. So I think it's kind of fine what I'm doing. And we can always refine it as we go. And then I'm going to have to do some redstoning, and I'm going to have to figure that off camera. So I need like an and or R XOR switch or something where when one's true, the others can't be. We're going to extend this out 3 blocks this way. Or we'll tear this down. Go 2 more blocks. Okay. What do I got to work with? We got the acacia log, got that, and then we got this. So I'm gonna have it go like that. And again like this, I think. I think it's worked, kind of. I don't know. This is just a rough starting shape for how I want this to be. I don't know if this is what we're going to end on, but I think this is what we're going to start with. Okay. So Jeopardy will have we're going to have a little gray thing like that. And what we're going to have is signs. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like this. Oh, that's not going to work. How's this going to work? Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, they're all reachable. Sweet. Just like that. So what we're going to have is we're going to have 100. I'll add some glowing ink sacs to these to make them a little bit easier to read. And then these are going to be the categories. And then in the back, I'm going to just probably... What kind of blocks do I have in the back to work with? Got a lot of acacia. Let's just... In the back, we're just going to have a a little stepping stool so I don't have to jump so high. Like that. So the audience will be over there. I will be right here. And I will have my own little podium. I'm just gonna go like a little bit of like a... On the back side along the top, I'll also have signs telling me which ones they are. And then in here, we'll have the questions. The audience will sit over here. And then contestants can be over here. All right. And the contestants just get their own little lecterns that are like this. It's a little hard to read. Maybe I need to start them down here more. And then maybe pull them in a bit. This is the fun part. Yippee! So each one of these will have 2 books in them. One at the top left, one at the bottom right. And so when I do them, the books are all going to be named, and they're all going to have the questions on them. So I'll go through them, and then I'll have them over here. And then once I'm done with them, they will go into storage. So those are my storage barrels for all the excess questions. And the audience gets little bleachers or something. Actually, you may be wondering why I'm doing this, but trust me, I'm cooking. The audience will get little chairs right here. I don't expect there to be a lot of audience members, I'm going to be honest. And then, this is the reason why I brought the concretes. We're going to spell a word. So we go 4, 8, 10. 4, 8. Wait, I just need to multiply this by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Does this need to be 36 blocks? Is this 36? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oof. It's not quite. I can go and remove this little structure, though. Yeet. Boop. I'm gonna need to put some of this stuff away. I'm going to put the wood stuff away in here for the time being. Pick that up. There we go. What I'm going to do is probably go right over here. Start with this. What I need is, we're going to go... this is going to be a little janky, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, I can just... That's 21. I might be able to fit it in 21 blocks. Let's try. GOR. Not really working that great. What happens if I curve it around? G. Then I can go like this. I think I'm going to need more gray and orange, but I think this is a very good start. Oops. P. Does that look like an A, or does this look more like an A? The second one looks more like an A. A. think I'm almost cooking with something here. Oh, but if I go more, it's going to mess with the 3 design. There's an R. Hey, look at that. We're spelling Jeopardy. And then I got the D and then a Y here. So I need to go grab more gray concrete. I feel like I do. Let me fill in the rest of the gray. And then we will go and work on getting more orange. The sun is shining in the sky. There ain't a cloud inside. Stop raining, everybody's in their place, and don't you know, it's a beautiful new day. Hey, running down the avenue. Seems as the sun shines brightly in the city, on the streets where once was pitty Mr. Blue. Sky is living here today. Hey, right? Okay, I see how it is. I'll be all by myself. No one to talk to. No one to listen to my insensate ramblings. My ramblings, I say. The ramblings! That's all I ever talk about is my ramblings. Mr. Blue, you did it right, but soon comes Mr. Night, creeping over, now his hand is on your shoulder, never mind. I can never remember where I put half my stuff. Boop, boop, boop. That's a little better. Okay. You know what? Instead of using signs on the back, I'll probably just write it down on a piece of paper. I came here to craft more orange dye. I got 10, which means I need 40. There we go. On Jeopardy! I was there to match my intellect on national TV between a plumber and an architect, both with a PhD. I was tense, I was nervous, I guess it just wasn't my night. Arch Fleming gave the answers, but I didn't get the questions right. I lost on Jeopardy, baby. Ooh. Okay, how do I distinguish between an O and a D? This is how you do it. That's it. That's a D. Jeopardy. I want to do like the. I think I want to do the old-fashioned Y. It's like this, this. Sometimes you don't even need to do math. It's Jeopardy! This is not bad. This is definitely something. And then we can just go like this. To kind of tie in the whole entire set. And then we will take this and go like that. Bible Jeopardy. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Those are seats for the guests. Guess I didn't actually go with orange. So I was debating whether or not I wanted to. So up there will be the categories. And then so I can change them later, I'm going to give myself a staircase around the back. Whoops. My spacebar is a little clunky right now, and I haven't been able to fix it properly. So we're just going to have to deal with that. And now I can access these signs up here. Perfect. There we go. We got Jeopardy, baby. So the first round will be the Old Testament, and the second round will be the New Testament. And I have a staircase to get all the way up. And change these when we go from step 1 to step 2. So now, I gotta come up with questions. Yay. I really thought building the set was gonna be the hard part, but that was the easy part. Coming up with questions, now that's gonna be a little tricky. Okay. Oops, not this. That. All of this stuff needs to be moved. Actually, now that I look at it all, I can just go like that and grab it all in one big fell swoop. Like that, and then move it to the chest for all of those organizings. There we go. I just need to get 60 books. 60 book and quills. And then each player is going to get a buzzer, and they're going to be able to push the button to turn on their light. And we'll just hope and pray that I can see it fast enough. I think. That's how we're going to do it. I might redesign these a little bit. Actually, let's see what all do I have to work with. Actually, let's do this. Ooh, well, I just had a great idea. Yep. It's gonna go away. And then what I need is a crafting table, so we're just gonna... I don't care that I'm using acacia for this, because there's a lot of acacia over here. Whoops. That. There we go. That doesn't look great. I'm gonna put some like hidden lighting back here a little bit. Make that area glow. But I think I'm just gonna have to weave in some like some hidden lights somewhere. Maybe I'll make these slabs or something. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to put a waxed copper bulb on each one of these and then a little button on it. You're like, why would you... Did I use up all of it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's all of them. Sweet. You might be like, why would you do that? The reason being is simple. The old Jeopardy sets were orange boxes with little blue number counters at the very bottom of how much money they have. Which reminds me... I'm gonna do this and then go score. I think leaving it all caps makes it a little bit more bold. Perfect. And then I will have a lectern. Kind of distinguish me different from everyone else. I'm special. Okay, now where's my shulker box that had all the stuff for these lights? Because I know I have a shulker box somewhere over here for all these lamps. I know I do. I just need to remember. Where did I put it? Maybe I don't, but I should. Yeah, this looks like half of them. Apparently I used 2 shulkers for it. Hi, Captain Sammy. We're working on the next part of it. I don't know if you just saw, but we just got done with working on the Jeopardy set. So that's fun. There's my concrete. Let's put my acacia away because it turns out I didn't actually need that. And my lecterns and stuff go in here with the signs. This will go in here. Sweet, Jeopardy. Yeah, Jeopardy. We're doing Bible Jeopardy. I really need to move all of this upstairs. So we're just currently working on the set design a little bit. So what I'm going to need is some of these. And wax copper bulbs. You're going to need 3 mangrove buttons, 3 wax copper bulbs. Some glow inks. I also need to do a music thing later underneath where when I push a button it'll go boo doo boo boo doo boo 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 doo 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 doo. I think it'd be fun. Oh yeah, I remember. It was Lady Platypus who had interest in joining the SMP. Elsbeth sent her a Discord before. If someone wants to join the SMP, they have to be referred to by someone in the SMP. So if Elsbeth tells me, oh, I want Lady Platypus to join, then Lady Platypus has to join the community Discord and then put all of her socials in the community Discord in a ticket. So she has to open up a ticket and then do that. It may seem weird that we do it that way, but trust me, there's a reason why I do everything the way I do it. Whether or not you agree with my methodology, that's up for debate. But there is a reason why I do it. So, how wide is this room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Not great. But, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Still not great. It's your baby after all? Yeah, and I think that's pretty fair. Like, if someone on the SMP wants one of their friends to join, then their friend can join. They just have to join the Discord and then follow the pretty simple instructions, which is open a ticket, put all their socials in there, and then whoever wanted them to join has to let me know. So I know that it's not just some random bozo opening up a ticket. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Yep. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It feels so awkward. So I get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here. That looks better. Is there any prerequisites like being a Christian content creator? Yeah. Well, here's the thing is a lot of people are now not associating themselves as a Christian content creator. Like a lot of people are ditching that handle. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're saying that the Christian content creator community has become too toxic and that everyone is leaving. Like we keep seeing them. Dia left a while ago. Dia, who rebranded, left a while ago, and then also Frog Pollen left. Then up here, can I? Nope, I have to type in something. Category 1. We're just going to do a template. Category 2. Category 3. Category 4. I don't care if I misspell it. I'm gonna change it later. Cat 5. Cat 6. And then I'm going to leave the spares of these in here for if I ever mess it up. That's just sad. I wasn't aware in the recent infighting that it... That's sad. That's just sad. Is it because of the recent infighting going on that I wasn't aware of? Yeah, there's like a lot of little infighting. It's all between like little things for the most part. But then everyone just kind of gets mad at each other permanently. So, it's not fun. What in the world? Oh, did I light up the wrong side of the sign or something? Do I do it like this? Cat? You gotta be kidding me. Now that signs are double-sided, I guess I gotta make sure that I access the right side. Cat 4. Cat 3. Cat 2. Cat 1. That's fun. Plus that whole AI debacle. I think it's how that was handled. I think it's little things like that. All I know is that a lot of people have left the Crisis MP, and I am on good terms with everyone who has left recently, and they are more than welcome to come back on their own leisure or whatever. I gotta make that very clear. I do not have anything against any of the people who have recently left the Crisis MP. That would be Frog, Rad and Frank, Dad Penguin, or that would be Rad and Frank, which would be Rad Penguin, Dad Penguin. So Frog, those two, Poison Lemon, and a couple others. There's a lot of people that were on hiatus, but then they're like, you know what? Yeah, I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Would be here. I'll put a frog light there. So it's kind of still on a grid pattern. And then the next frog light would be under this guy. And then that frog light would be under here. But I have ones behind that'll glow and light them up. So that should be fine. I'm going to leave that in there. I'm going to keep these smooth sandstones. So there's like the AI debacle, which I don't actually think, but a lot of Christians just instantly blocked each other. Like a lot of Christian content creators and people that are on Twitter blocked each other after that. So that was kind of crazy. I've had my own fair share. Like I spoke out of turn on something that I felt I spoke out of turn a little bit on something that I felt very defensive about. And I think the conversation needed to be had, but I think the way I went about it was wrong. And I think that my argument that I made was right, but I don't think I made the argument in love. And that had like 10 people hate on me from inside of the SMP, and then I'll quit. So the one that had me scratching my head is like the whole thing about some people were like, AI is morally wrong. And I was like, AI is a tool. That's it. I'm not going to be... I think it's morally wrong to do certain things. Like some people are like, oh yeah, I have AI write all my Bible sermons and my prayers. No, that's not, that needs to be between you and God, not you and AI. That's where I draw the line. But I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI to, you know, basically use it for Photoshop, because that's what I do. I use AI basically for Photoshop. And, like, we already had Grammarly. So if you use Grammarly, which is basically like an AI thesaurus, and you want to keep using things like that, is that still morally dubious? Is a calculator, if you punch in like a full math equation into a calculator and it solves it, that's a computer doing a problem for you. Is that dubious? Like, there's a certain point at which, like, AI is overused, the term, but there are some great applications. Like, if I want to do a whole bunch of research on a subject really quick, I can use AI to find actual reliable sources to not actually have to do the first layer of skimming. Because like if I look up like let me think of something random. Because all that I'm thinking of is all the political stuff I've been using AI to Google. I don't want to be political at this moment. I feel like a calculator and tools are just this next step of the process. Yeah. So it's like let's use this. Let's say you see a meme format, okay? You see a meme format. And then you take that photo, even though it's like it's already got like a meme, and you go, Gronk, I see that I have these 2 different photos that are the same format. Can you find me the source photo for these 2 formats? And it goes, oh, this is from Free Rend, episode this, because it's like the Free Rend holding like the item. It's like, oh, you like I did one of a gun and one of a Pokemon. And I say, what is the source of this, Gronk? Gronk will be like, oh, this is from Free Rend, Beyond Journey's Death. Anime came out in this time. Episode this, timestamps this. This is the original source photo that blew up. That's great. That's a great tool. Fully on board. That's what I use AI for. Is, can you help me speed up the process of finding this, this, and this? Or like sometimes, because I'm bad at articulating, I go, AI, can you help me articulate this? I mean, to help it make my resume better and job searching. I think at that point, I think AI for like resume is fine. Because that's basically just Grammarly, but job searching, I don't know, it's a little weird. Quit, hiatus, active, hiatus, active, quit, active, quit, active, admin, quit. And I'm pretty sure he's quitting. He might not. But yeah. We've had quite a few people leave the SMP. We've had over, and I think some more, like there's a lot of quiet quitters. And I don't like using that phrase because it's like that dumb lingo that bosses use. But there are people that have straight up quit and then just didn't tell me they quit until I reach out to them like 2 months and been like, hey dude, you haven't logged in 2 months. Where you been? And they're like, yeah, I quietly quit. Brother. What? You've been voting still. On polls and stuff. But it's whatever. Oh, now I need to remember. I need to send someone a DM. And, like, for the most part, like, there's a lot of people who have quit that, you know, they're allowed to come back. I don't have any issues or any beef with them. There's a few people that kind of burned bridges on the way out that I'm very reluctant to bring back. But besides, like, 4 or 5 people, everyone who's left the SMP is completely able to come back. I'm a pretty lenient guy. I'm not gonna hold grudges over little things. Currently doing some more tech stuff in the background. Get re. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna delete all of these He was struggling with it. I had to send someone the invite code to join the Crisis MP because a whole bunch of people got ratted. So I had to kick one of the people that got ratted, the Christian content creators, from the SMP Discord. And I was like, can you please friend me on your alt so I can bring you back into the Crisis MP Discord, dude? Please. We're hosting meetings and stuff, and you're literally unable to join. He's in there now. We're good. We're good. Well, we are to forgive those who hurt us and to those we hurt. Yeah, I agree. At the same time, some of these people were not very nice to me. I've been yelled at, screamed at, cussed at. It's like, I try my hardest not to raise my voice with you and have as much patience as I can with you. But you're being kind of mean. There is a serious lack of compassion from Christian content creators. And like, I will admit, I have very little patience for certain things, but I'm not intentionally like cussing at people or saying things to like insult them or be like demeaning. I tend to say things in what I believe to be a very factual stance, and I think that still bothers people. You know what? That's fine. You can't please everyone. If you try to please everyone, you'll end up pleasing no one or something. You're not looking to start fights? No, and a lot of people thought, some people in the Christian content creator sphere believe that some of my takes that I have are specifically to start fights and not for any other reason. When what a lot of the reasons why I do the things I do is because I want to stop it before it becomes a problem. So a lot of the things I do... Oh, geez. That's not right. That's not great. Okay, well, we're just gonna... A lot of things I do for the SMP and about the SMP that a lot of people think are like controversial that I'm working on is because I've had it be a problem in the past, and so I'm preventing it from being a problem in the future by just telling people, no, you can't do that, instead of giving them some level of leniency, which some people are now asking for me to walk back on some things, and I'm like, you know what? I know you guys better now, and I trust you guys enough that we can definitely walk some of this back. Yeah, I did that growing up. I learned very easily that some fights aren't worth winning, especially when I would butt heads with my mother and I'd be correct and point that out and it didn't go over well. Yeah, things like that. No, it's like one of the things that we recently changed and that was brought up in a meeting that we had yesterday was one of our rules for the Crisis MP is you are not allowed to listen to music unless it has no lyrics or is Christian and or worship music. So it has to be Christian, worship, or lyricless music. And the reason being is because, now this stems from a bit of a personal conviction of mine, is because one time before the Crisis and Peace, someone asked me to, like, something about the Bible. And I had to pause my music to answer it. And I realized that the music I was listening to is AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. And it's kind of hard to preach the gospel when you're listening to a song about fornication. So... that was like, I told people during the interviews, is like, this is a personal conviction of mine, so this is why we had the rules in place. Is because I don't want you guys to be put in a scenario where you're going to be listening to the wrong type of music and be asked the wrong kind of questions. It actually happened today on someone else's stream where a similar scenario, like what I just described, happened with one of the songs that someone was singing. And I'm not holding any fault against the person. Slip of the tongue, slip of the mind, you know, I love my white girl music too, okay? Let's go. But, lol, I got a way to fix that. There's this band from a long time ago called Apologetics. Yeah, so here's the thing, is that was my rule. And so people said, you're treating us like kids, you need to give us a little bit more leniency, okay? If people start to break, you know, they start listening to songs about fornication or inappropriate things that are not biblical, then out with them. But there's a lot of songs example that my younger brother used when I brought it up with him is like the fat rat, come fly away with me. Come and fly away with me. Do 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 do. And that's it. It doesn't really have any lyrics. It's literally just like a call to adventure song. Or like theme songs. Why can't we listen to theme songs? Okay, like Timmy is an average kid that no one understands. His mom and dad and Vicky always giving him commands. Like, okay. Or like, a curious George, sway, when everything is so curious. Or Veggie Tales. And it's like, why aren't you letting us listen to this? And it's like, you know what? You make a good point. It's a very valid argument. And I know a lot of you guys better. And the reason why I had that rule in there is because we had a time where, you know, people, now you're like number one, shining bright out for everyone. Yeah. We had a problem where people were talking about inappropriate things on stream, like talking about we'll just leave it inappropriate things. They were just being inappropriate and a little gross. And so instead of, you know, dealing with the one person, I just said, blanket statement, we're doing all this. Bleach OST? Okay. And that made a lot of people upset, and it was kind of like punishing a lot of people that did nothing wrong. And you know what? There's a lot of validity to that. And so, you know what? Now that I know everyone better, we're walking that back. You know, I'm willing to admit when, you know, I make a mistake and we need to change some things. But some of the things that we've had in the past for like certain people that aren't allowed in the SMP or come back are like, I had people say, I don't think this is a good place for my content. People should know that I'm Christian just by the way I act, not by what I preach. And I said, this is the crisis MP. I think asking you to do a little bit of preaching every stream, you know, prayer requests, pray before you raid out, I do the Bible studies, isn't that much of a requirement, you know? And a lot of people have already do that on their streams. So what I'm looking for is for people that already do that, you know, Zaf, Moon, Joker, those kinds of personality archetypes is what I'm looking for. And the problem is we went through a lot of different people that didn't fit those personality archetypes that are good for, you know, this kind of content. A content where, you know, we can play Bible games and stuff. And, you know, I'm building Bible Jeopardy. I suggested Bible Baseball a while ago. And, you know, some of the people that I've left, like True, he was, I think he showed up on day one and that was it. True's getting married. And a lot of things popped up in his life that went kind of chaotic. And he's like, dude, I can't commit to this. Just hand over my spot to someone else. And I gave it over to the Joker. You know, people like True completely can come back. I've nothing against True. Completely good. If True 12 wants to come back, he can. I think he's told me that he'll try and start hosting Bible studies in the community Discord in a few months. So, you know, things like that, perfectly fine. What's her name? Kaden. She goes, you know what? I think I'm going to stick to YouTube and just do YouTube now. For preaching, I don't want to preach on stream anymore, and I'm just going to do daily devotionals on YouTube. And Melinda did a very similar thing. It's like, completely fine, I get it. Like, they can make YouTube videos, and YouTube videos, I'm a lot more lenient with, because people will watch the YouTube videos even if they're old, so, you know, just do, like, a daily devotional or something. But when I suggested for people, like, hey, if you don't know where to start, get yourself a 3 to 5 minute daily devotional, and just read some daily devotionals on stream, you know? Get yourself a daily Bible verse, and try and have a conversation about that, okay? Just do a little something. Lots of people didn't like that. They're like, you should just know that I'm a Christian. Okay. So, like I said, I don't have anything against most people, but there's a certain couple of people that were like, oh, you should just know that I'm a Christian, or said something rude to me a couple of times before they left, slammed the door on the way out, tried to burn some bridges. And it's like, I'm willing to forgive you, but I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to get burned by you a second time. You know. And some people, you know, they're just too weak Minecrafters. You know, EP told me, like, you know what? Turns out I'm just a 2-week Minecrafter. EP is also more of like an anarchist kind of player where she just wants to burn everything and grief everything. That's not how SMPs work. So her personality just doesn't blend well for SMPs. And you know what? That's perfectly fine. And so that's why EP left. She's just like, you know what? I want to be more buck wild, crazy, and do some kablooies. And I said, yeah, we don't really want you blowing up anyone's bases. She goes, then I'm going to dip. Like, she goes, can I prank people by putting TNT underneath pressure plates by their front doors and stuff and just around the map? I'm like, no! You can't just randomly put landmines across the world. But it'll be funny. No! That's not how SMPs work. That's how anarchy servers work. EB wanted just to go full gremlin. And honestly, like, that would have been a lot more fun. She's like, can we have a Coliseum? I was like, yeah, let's build a Coliseum. Let's go for it. And there's a lot of things like that. Frog Pollen can come back. I think Fenrir's probably done. He hasn't officially quit, but I'm pretty sure he's done. Muga, he's dealing with health stuff. He posts about it all the time on Twitter. And so he can't dedicate any time. So I said, we'll talk about it before we go into Season 2. But if Muga's unable to do anything because he's going to just be permanently sick, then, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a hermit called Tinfoil Chef. And he was an old man. He was constantly getting sick, and then he died. And for me, I'm not going to say, oh, you can't be a part of this because you're sick. But if you being sick means that you can only show up, you know, twice a season, then I'm going to dedicate the spot. Because I'm not going to ever have more than 35 people a part of the SMP, or 36, because it's just too hard to manage that many people. So I want to keep the number around 30. And so, you know, if there's someone that's just unable to play consistently, then why am I going to try and, you know, work around them, per se? And, like, I don't have anything against Muga, and I really hope he does get better. We pray for him. But if he doesn't ever get better, you know, I'll talk to him about it going into Season 2. And we've had a small talk. And I like the guy. It's just, you never get better. That's just a spot that, you know, if you know you're not going to be available, just let's politely hand over the spot to someone else. So I don't feel like I'm bullying you out. I got to tear up this roof a little bit more. And then this is going to go that way. Through there. So that's where I am at. So let's go. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, crazy lady's yawning. Again, I guess I have to explain this because of how much infighting there is right now. I do not hold any grudges against anyone that I have named tonight. I actually like all of them. They're pretty chill dudes. But because people like to clip me out of context, I have to then give this preamble or like Band-Aid sort of comment where it's like, I don't hate anyone. If I did dislike someone, I would not be mentioning them. That's for sure. People that I don't like in the Christian content creator sphere, I don't name. I just leave them nameless and then just give some examples of things I heard from people. Not a fan of people who go for out of context. Oh, neither am I, but man, have I been clipped. You know, I had a 40-minute conversation once to better understand something that I didn't know because, like, I didn't have that much research about it. So I asked other people what their opinions were. And people clipped me out of context and ran with it. And holy, a 40-minute conversation. Most people only watch 5 minutes and I got reamed for it. Holy cow. That was wild. That was scary. That was one of the conversations that made a lot of people leave. It was not fun. Not fun at all. Oh. Wow. That's, I think that's a good start. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Things happen. You can't, what is the phrase? You can't stop yourself from progressing because you're struck with fear. You just gotta push on, persist, and exist. Keep going. And that's where I'm at. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you made the Crisis MP to make yourself famous. I'm like, guys, I think most people don't even know that I own this. Like, for the first 3 or 4 months, no one knew that I was the one who founded this. Even though I think I mentioned it at the launch, most people didn't. In a meeting now, but I'll be lurking for a bit more. Okay. It's like, I'm not doing this to be popular. I'm doing this because I felt called to start a Bible-based SMP, considering there's a lot of Christians out there that make content, but there's not really a Bible-based SMP that I can find besides one more recently, which is Crafters for Christ. But they've been going for years, and we quickly surpassed them because they did not know how to market very well, and they're more of like a community-based one, like our community server, than a content creator one. Because I'm shooting for... Whoops. The reason why I made the Crisis MP is because I was watching a video of the Imp and Skizzle Man podcast where Skizzle Man was talking about his faith and his journey and some of the tests that God has given him, basically. And like a bit of his own testimony, you could say. And that made me realize that there is a lot of Christian content creators that are just, you know, family friendly. Okay, they're SACO, they're family friendly, whatever you want to call it. Why aren't these Christian content creators, you know, creating content with the explicit purpose of sharing the gospel? Because they have such a big outreach. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. And here we are. That was my only reason. Okay, I have spent more money than this has made. Okay, I don't get a lot of subs. I've gotten a couple of raids, but more than when I didn't do this content, but still not a lot. I don't get any donos. The community server is just a financial burden on me. It costs me $30 a month. It's made $12 or $13, and I've spent close to 60. One of my friends who's trying to be more in tune with her faith decided to nuke all NSFW associated with herself and wants to be more CCO. Yeah, that's a good thing. I had someone do something like that, but then they kept part of their lewd art around and claimed that it was part of her testimony. So she keeps her lewd art easily and readily available for her fans to find. I don't know if it's still that way, but that was how it was when she left the SMP. So, yeah. It was wild. Like, this is pretty lewd. Should you really be showing that publicly? Like, I'm all for, like, the look at where I was, here I am now, but I feel like a lot of that could be conveyed through words and does not need to be done through photography. Now, this is a personal opinion, and I have gotten some backlash for it in the past, but I'm gonna stand by it. Okay, you can explain where you were, like, you know, I was a porn addict. I still struggle with loss in my porn addiction, but I don't need to add example photos for that, you know? It's a little bit different for, like, some people when they're, like, recovering alcoholics, and it's like, look at where I was, look at where I am now, and that was, like, the argument that a lot of people made. But the difference is that it's not It's not lewd. Like the prior photos didn't have like the sexual connotation. Seems to be a common thing. I too struggle with and stumble on occasion, and I'm not proud of it. This is what I'm going to say. Right now, it is extremely hard, not for just men, but for everyone, to have wins in life. And the thing that porn does is it gives you an instant heavy hit of dopamine. And that dopamine is highly addictive. Okay? And so what a lot of people are right now in life, including myself, lovely lady.
Sorry.
A lot of people right now are in a very doom and gloom feeling, okay? No one's got jobs, everyone's broke, things just aren't looking well, no one's getting in relationships, everyone that is like, infertile, they're struggling having kids. Just a lot of things right now in life are not going very smooth. And what is something that you can do in private that's very easily and readily available to give you a quick, heavy dopamine hit so that you can start to feel a little bit better? It's not drugs, okay? Because a lot of us will never touch drugs. But what is as addicting as drugs? Porn. Porn is the number one grossing industry in the world. Porn and trafficking. Those are the big ticket items. They make way more money than drugs. So, what is an easy thing to get people hooked on? Porn. I saw a post on X about it. Yeah. Sound of Freedom talks about it, the movie, and they go into a lot more depth, and it's very dark and very sad. But I'm going to keep it a little bit more on the light side. But the problem is like, you can look at me, you can look at Urban Tree. We'll go with Urban Tree as another example. That guy seems pretty chill. And you can look at some other Christian content creators. Urban Tree, I think he is, but I'm not 100% sure. And just look at, like, me and Urban, we both, from what I can tell, I can't speak for Urban completely because I can only see what he posts on Twitter. But from what I can tell is that both me and Urban both have a drive to get married, settle down, and have kids. And unfortunately, that's just not looking very feasible to us right now. And it puts us in a very doom or gloom mentality. Okay? I did not realize I had such a drive to want to become like a dad or any father figure until my pastor adopted these little kids. And I started to get to play with them after church on Sundays and hang out with them for a little bit. And hanging out with like toddlers and stuff brings such immense joy to me, playing games with toddlers and doing VBS stuff with other kids that are, I get the oldest groups, which are like the 8. We have 3 different groups, but sometimes I get like as young as 8 in my group because like they have like a sibling or something that's like 12. So 8 to 12 roughly is in my group for VBS. And playing little games with these kids and hanging out with them during like, for VBS week and seeing how much fun and joy I can bring children, I'm like, dude, I want to have kids and a wife so I can bring them this kind of joy. The problem is one, I struggle with a porn addiction, which is typically not great for getting into a relationship because you're not gonna ever be in the proper headspace until you fully conquer that beast to be in a proper healthy relationship. I'm not in the mindset of, how should I phrase this? I don't think that it's an instant like, oh, you can't be in a relationship because you have a porn addiction, but I will say that I think you will compromise a lot of things doing so. I think there are some people that, like me, who are just truly lonely, and I never once struggled with porn whenever I was in a relationship. I just didn't. I had been struggling for years. I dated this chick for 2 months, and I never once had any desire to go back. Never once struggled with it. Which is one of the reasons why I want to get into a relationship, is because it'll help kick that struggle. Because for me, if I'm mentally in a relationship, looking at porn is just straight up cheating. And I would never do that. Where when I'm single, who am I really screwing over? What I'm really doing is I'm damaging my soul and ruining my relationship with God. But on a subconscious level, I'm not cheating on my girlfriend. I'm not cheating on my wife. So I now have that leverage subconsciously to make it easier to do bad things. Because that's the problem. That's like the big thing with getting, the unfortunate answer is that you're cheating on yourself. Sort of. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is, this is the best phrasing that I can come up with. I know there's probably better phrasing, but you're cucking yourself. Like, quite literally, that is the definition. You're watching someone else do inappropriate acts with someone else, and it's getting you off. That is the definition of cuck. So, you're literally doing that to yourself. I know Dr. K has made a video on the whole subject. I don't know who Dr. K is. Interesting. Though. But yeah, you're just cheating yourself. And so it's really hard to overcome something, especially when you think that the only person you're hurting is yourself. So you gotta get in the mindset that you're not just hurting yourself, you are hurting your future partner, you're hurting your relationship with God. Healthy Gamer GG, he's an addiction psychologist. Oh. And like I realized that this is the main one that I keep seeing float around on Twitter, is a lot of people use porn, including myself, to cope with stress. It's a very heavy coping mechanism, because stress says, oh, I'm worthless, I'm tired, nothing's going right. And porn is that instant dopamine hit that makes you feel better. So when you're depressed, you're gonna want something that makes you feel better. And so other people turn to drugs, some people turn to porn. And that is a huge thing. Because when I was working at my old workplace, towards the end, when all my coworkers were saying things like, you should quit, no one would miss you. One coworker threatened to kill me. That was like a long time ago. That was when I first started working there, and he left, and that's probably the reason why he said it. But, you know, things like that just killed my mental. And over time, all this pressure and hate started to really stress me out, and it made me relapse. There was a point in time shortly after I got fired. I'd say probably I got fired on the 9th of January. So I'd say once January was over, there was a good stretch of which I had no stress, because it wasn't like, oh, I had any coworkers that hated me. I had I still had my savings, so I didn't have any financial worries. I was preparing to help out my church for VBS and stuff, and everything was great. And my brother's wedding was coming up, and I did apply to a couple places, and I went on like a road trip to hang out with my friends, and stress was at an all-time low. And that is when I had hello Preston, that was when I had the least amount of pressure and struggle with my porn addiction, was during, I'd say probably February till about August of last year. And like, I've gone years without it, you know. I never had an issue. Like, I had it, like, a lot of people look at porn when they hit puberty. I was one of those kids. It also didn't help that a gay furry introduced me to porn at a very young age, so that probably didn't help me at all. But yeah, that was crazy. So I did when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, because I was going through like puberty, and like that I think kind of messed me up with the gay furry guy. And then after that, all of high school, never had a struggle once. Never did. It was weird. All 4 years of high school, I never struggled with a porn addiction. It wasn't until I started working at my last workplace did it come back. And now it's back because I have no job security, and I've been struggling with it. I've been doing pretty well these last 2 weeks. But typically for me, I'll do well for a few months, and then I'll relapse for about a week or two, and then I'll do good for a couple months, and then I'll relapse for a week or two. So that's basically how it runs for me when I'm like in financial and stressful uncertainty. And the hardest thing is, as much as I pray for like my lust and struggles to go away, the biggest issue is that I'm praying for my struggles with lust to go away, and what I should be doing, and I'll admit this, is I need to be praying for my stress to go away and to get a job. Because if I have a job, then I don't have stress. And because a lot of my stress currently comes from me being financially unstable. I spent $150 on a tire today, and I already owe my brother $400, and I have less than $200 in my bank account, and a couple people collectively owe me almost $300, and I guess I got an odd job tomorrow, but they only ever have a couple hours of work, so I'll probably only make like 60 to 80 bucks there, and, you know, I'm financially uncertain. The thing I was trying to find was the paraphrase version of, to be honest, dopamine rush or deeper void. Ooh. That's crazy. I just realized I think I was supposed to query up a little bit first before I mine this part out. But honestly, I think this is tall enough for what I plan on doing. Right? How much taller do I need to go? I should really just take it up to there. Let's go all the way through. Dang. I've gypped myself. That confused me so badly. That is a hanging bat that's hanging on literally nothing. Holy cow. I was like, what in the world of satanic messed up textures is that? Is that a little demon imp? It's an upside down hanging bat with the new bat texture. Holy cow. That actually tripped me up so badly. It was like, no, Satan, you do not have a hold here. Not right now. That was funny. Rebuke it. Yeah, be gone. I draw a cross. I use the little cross fingers. Be gone, vampire. But yeah. There's the biggest thing is you need to find a way to de-stress. Because a lot of people struggle with porn because of stress. And I keep seeing it pop up all over my feed on Twitter and stuff. Where it's like, let's be honest. Are you actually looking at porn because you're horny? Or are you looking at porn because you're depressed right now and you want a quick dopamine hit? And so many people were like, I do it because of the dopamine hit. I do it because I'm depressed. Or I do it as a coping mechanism. And that's really bad. And the two things that we need to work on as a society, that I will say, is one, I think transgenderism is a ploy by either the devil or... Do you guys believe in the deep state? Because if you believe in the deep state, then it's the Jews. Anyways, I think it's a ploy by the devil to get people addicted on porn earlier and earlier in life. Because the thing about being addicted to porn is when you're addicted to porn, when that dopamine hit rush falls off and you have the post clarity, all that you can think of is how worthless you are. And the devil wants you to know how... Okay, not know. The devil wants you to think about how worthless you are and how much you don't matter to anything. Because keeping you in a cycle of depression is the best way to keep you from focusing on God. And so that... My biggest thing that I've told people for years is I have a lot of mistakes and regrets in my life. Okay? And the number one regret I ever have is becoming addicted to porn. And that if I could do anything over again or tell younger me anything, I would tell younger me to never associate with that man that started me down this really bad path. And I'm not blaming him on everything, you know, at some point I gotta, you know, hold my own accountability. But him introducing it to me at such a young age definitely messed me up. He was a 18-year-old furry, and funny enough, his real name was Cole. I had this username before I knew his real name. His real name is Cole. So every once in a while, I think back on that, about how my username is like the same as like this pedophile pervert's name. And this is what I think to myself. It's not his name. Okay? Cole is my name. Actually, my real name's Simon. It's not even my real name. But it's one that I hold because it's how I want to represent myself online. It's not him. And a lot of people, especially transgenders, believe that their name is tied to who they are. And you really aren't. I think a name is a way of expressing who you are. Okay? I don't think it is a definition of who you are. Because if Cole was the definition of who I was, then I would be a gay furry in Southern California, sending a whole bunch of minors gay furry porn. Or, oh, my username's Cole, which means I'm a guy who struggles with porn addiction. No, what I am is I am a person who's saved by grace, who is a work in progress, who struggles with a lot of things. And right now, what he is doing is working on getting a job, working on struggles, and trying to figure out with, you know, even though I'm in a place of a lot of uncertainties, you know, financial, I'm cooked. I'm gonna have to take another loan from my parents, I think. Struggling with my depression. I never had suicidal thoughts until more recently, and I gotta tell you, that's not fun. You know, the occasional, like, you know what? I should just blow my brains out. I don't think anyone would miss me. Like, okay, that was out of pocket. That was really unprompted, and I don't really like that. Those are getting more and more common these days. And I realize that a lot of that kind of mentality stems from stress, and stress causes depression and a lot of other things. And for me, I link a lot of my self-worth to having a job. My dad always worked hard growing up, and that was how he provided for his family. And I think it had some drawbacks, my dad working all the time. But I think I definitely want to do something similar. Where, you know, I need a certain amount of work to feel like I'm worthy of, like, love and care and any of that stuff. And that's just kind of how a lot of men are hardwired, is they need a certain amount of work. But right now, what it is we're working either too much and not making enough, or we're working too much and not having enough energy to recline and properly, you know, feel rewarded for our hard work. There's a balance between work hard and then play hard. And the problem is right now, with the way that the government and everything is set up, is it's work hard until you die. That's it. That's all you got to look forward to. Work hard until you die. And that's not a healthy mindset for any of us to be in. Okay, let's read the comments from Outlaw. I went out to dinner with my parents last night. My mom was like, well, how do you remember the story of the fiery furnace? I give you the Hebrew names and the baby Lonian, Ionian names. Mom was, how well do you remember the names? Am I blind, or did you send another message? Okay. Let's pause. I went out to dinner with my parents last night. My mother was like, how well do you remember the story of the fiery furnace? I gave the Hebrew names and the Babylonian names. Mom was like, you're going through your own fire right now, but Jesus and God will make you through it. Internally, I was like, my struggles aren't anyways close to that. Yeah, that one I was thinking of is because of the horny of the depression. On topic, the one I saw that was really messed up, and this one was me. Therapist, did your parents love you? Me? Yeah. Therapist, did they ask you how you felt? Me? No. Therapist, did they tell you when you did you tell them when you were in pain? Me? No. I didn't want to burden them. Therapist, so you grew up believing love means nothing other than being a burden, and dang, that explains everything. My parents openly say how much they love me, but here's the thing, is I realize I'm like mildly sociopathic, dude. Like mildly, okay? Growing up, when people said, oh, I love you, or whatever, that used to fill me with like dopamine. It used to make me feel better, or whatever you want to say. I don't know what the proper term is. Like oxycodone or oxycodone. One of those is like a hardcore drug, and the other one's like a brain chemical. You know, the same one that you get when you're like holding a girl's hand or whatever. You know, that make you feel good chemical. People would say like, "Oh, I love you," and that would hit. I haven't felt a hit from that in a long time, besides one lady recently who started saying things like that to me. And I felt like she was just oxycodone. Thank you. I genuinely felt those hits again. Like, I had not felt those hits from any of my family members or any of my friends in such a long time until, I don't know if she wants to be named, but she is in the community. Started saying, like, just, like, super simple things. Like, I'm proud of how far you brought the S&P. I love your base. I love the way that you're able to design things in your mind and actually put them out on paper. Because I am not that creative. I can't do that. And little things like that where it was a compliment with a lot of honesty that I haven't felt in a long time. You know, I have a lot of church members that say like, "Oh, thank you for VBS," or "You did such a good job this year." And yeah, I just don't feel anything. I'm like, oh, okay. Don't feel a thing. And for the most part, that's how I am with most things. And I need to work on that a little bit. But yeah, the part of my brain that's like, you know, when people compliment me, it's supposed to make me feel good. I haven't felt that in a long time. That thing don't work. It don't work too well. I think that's a lot of the reasons where a lot of my problems stem from. That's a whole nother issue where men are attention and touch star, where women are almost constantly getting compliments. Here's the thing is, I get a lot of compliments, but I don't think I get attention. I think that's it. I don't think it's necessarily attention or touch. I think that's a little too vague. I think women get a lot of attention. And so some women don't. I'll admit this, okay? I'm not saying all women, okay? I think there's a lot of women that get enough attention. And so they're good. They're in like the Goldilocks zone. There's some women that got too much attention and now they're like burnt out and they're gonna like go on a crash out because they just need to keep on getting more, okay? It's kind of like, if you ever play like an MMO, what's the distinction? So this is where I'm gonna go with this, okay? When you play an MMO, I'm picking my own brain words, like I doubt anyone wants to pick me. Kind of. How should I phrase this? The difference between attention and compliments, okay? Because compliments do not necessarily mean you're getting attention, okay? Let's say you're working, okay? You're at your work, you're working your whatever, you're hauling freight, okay? Let's say you work for a mover, okay? You're working for a mover and you get done with your job, okay? You get done with your moving job, okay? And that's your only client for the day. And as you leave, the client says, "Oh, you didn't break anything. Good job. Thank you for that." Or "Thank you for being attentive. Thank you for being careful." Something like that. It's genuine, but you're a mover. Your job is to do that. Your job is to, as a mover, not break anything, pay attention, be careful, do a fast job, and pick up heavy objects, okay? And if you're doing all those things, that's just part of your job description. When you get a compliment for just doing your designated job, that's not attention, okay? It's basic level acknowledgement, okay? A lot of compliments are actually just basic level acknowledgement. A compliment has to be creative, I think, okay? It can't just be something generic that you hear all the time. That's the difference. Okay, that's the lady who was complimenting me. The way that she's phrased things, I have, in the two ladies that I dated in person, and all the different ladies that I talked to online, not a single woman has ever talked to me in that way. And it wasn't even flirtatious. It was just being genuine and complimenting things that she liked about my personality. Not just a, "I think you're funny," or or "I think you're cute." It was long, thought out, very well articulated compliments And because she thought about it and articulated it so well, that was the attention. She was giving me proper attention. And I hate to break it to you guys. I saw what she looks like. I have zero physical attraction to her, which is pretty sad to say that, you know, a woman checks a lot of the boxes. There were some other, like, little downsides that I don't think I'm qualified for. But we're just going to leave it as I'm a terrible person, and I couldn't make it work because I had zero physical attraction to her. But, she was super sweet, and she actually was just being genuine. And that was just something that I felt like I hadn't had in a very long time, was genuine compliments that were creative instead of the generic basic acknowledgement. And that's the difference, okay? Attention between basic acknowledgement, okay? Men get basic acknowledgement a lot, where women get a lot of attention, okay? Compliments, I don't like that. Because I've gotten a lot of compliments. I constantly get compliments. It doesn't bother me, or it doesn't make me feel any different, okay? It's acknowledgement, okay? Genuine compliments with a lot of acknowledgement. That's what men are missing, okay? Because when the boss says, hey, you did a good job today, but he says that to you every other day, it falls on deaf ears. It's useless. It's pointless. But if your boss said something, yeah, level of deliberateness. If your boss said something like, hey, I saw you helping Joe over there pick it up. Thanks for helping him out. I know that his back's been a little messed up lately and he's been having a harder time, so thank you for helping him. That's very thoughtful of you. That's more, your boss is now deliberately taking a part of your day where you did something out of your goodness of your own heart that you didn't think anyone noticed, and he thanked you for it. Okay, that is a deliberate compliment. Okay, that's something that actually holds water. Okay, not the you did a good job today, sir. The hey, I saw you do this. Thankful for that. Or the hey, I know you broke a board today, but it's fine. You know, boards break all the time. Look at him over there. You know, he breaks boards all the time. Don't beat yourself up about it, okay? You may have broken a board today, but look at all these other things you've been doing, and then let's rattle off a couple things. That's what men aren't getting enough of. Men aren't getting deliberate enough direct attention. Okay? Because people may say, "Oh yeah, we're paying attention to men," but are you looking at the man, taking mental note? Because this is a thing that a lot of guys do, or at least I do it. When I meet a lady that I'm interested in, or someone new, I take detailed mental notes of everything they tell me for a few days. And then I like to compliment them or talk about those things. So if I see someone do something, I'm going to talk about it, you know? Like, for example, I think it was CB Nanigans drew some sort of drawing, and her art style was a lot like this guy's I know. So I said, hey, I really like your drawing, and I know a guy that draws just like that. Could I send it to him? You know, I'm complimenting, I'm giving attention, that kind of thing. I'm saying, hey, I like this drawing, and I wanted to share it with other people. And in doing that, I'm also saying you're a good artist. That is levels of acknowledgement and compliments. I'm talking with my hands now. That's why I stopped moving. Dang nabbit. That kind of thing, a lot of guys don't get anymore. And that's where social media comes in. This is a huge problem with social media and why it's so addicting for men and women. Just addicting in general. Is because when you post something on social media and someone likes it, that's like your basic level acknowledgement. Someone compliments it and leaves an actual proper comment on it. Hi.
Hello.
Someone actually leaves like a proper comment on it and then retweets it. They like, comment, and retweet. That is your attention for all three things that you need. Okay, you got your basic acknowledgement. You got your you know, they gave a comment on it that's like, hey, I really like this, and this is what I liked about it. That felt personal. and then they reposted it saying, I want to share this with other people I know. That's the 3 types of acknowledgement that all 3 need to be hit for a lot of people, because we're so overstimulated. And honestly, I don't think the internet's a bad thing. I think social media at its core, with how a lot of people have taken it, has gotten really bad and really addicting. And I think that's where a lot of our issues stem from. Like, especially with relationships, it's like, why would I get in a relationship with this woman when I can see everything that she's ever done sexually for the price of a Big Mac? Like, come on. Why are you talking to my dog like that?
Because he was shaking and being all weird.
Did you throw the blanket over him?
No.
What?
You're right about that whole social media thing, though.
I'm right a lot. Crazy.
No, like, whenever I post things on my story, I will, like, check it 100 times a day to see if anyone
because you're trying to get that basic hit of acknowledgement.
So I'm very addicted to it. Like, it makes
I am
me
too.
happy. It's like the thrill of, oh, yo, people like this. People think it's cool.
I did a post on Urban Tree's post, like a comment on it, and it did really well, and I felt pretty good. Like, when I say really well, I mean it's at like 50 likes and like 1 or 2 retweets, but I'm like, yeah. Hi, buddy. We're talking about porn addiction right now. There's a saying among men, OnlyFans detected, opinion rejected. Yeah, exactly. And the problem is, right now, a lot of guys get basic level of acknowledgement, okay? Where it's like, hey, you did a good job. I like what you're doing. And I'm going through some things for my buddy who just showed up. Well, I love you, Pookie. My brain was stuttering because I said we're talking about porn right now. That was directed towards you. I was going to say your real name, but I didn't know if you wanted me to use your real name. And so I kind of like stuttered there. Soviet eggs. I love you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is we're about to get into we're having a conversation about what me and you are doing right now. Okay? What me and you are doing right now, I was actually actively having a conversation about. Right now in America, a lot of men do this thing where they get basic compliments. Okay? I say I love you to my friends. I love you, Pookie. And it makes it a little bit more personal. And the reason why a lot of men do this, how we make it a little personal and we get a little extra fruity with one another, is because a lot of men are genuinely attention or starved. Not attention starved. It was, what was the word that we used? It was, yeah, attention starved. Okay, we get compliments, okay? Like if I went up to my buddy and been like, I love you. That's whatever. That's a basic level of acknowledgement. But if I were to go up to him and be like, hey bro, I know you've been going through a hard time right now with your job and you haven't been, the most available to play games or whatever, but I greatly appreciate you dedicating a couple hours to spend video games with me once a month. I know you're very busy, you got a lot of things going on and you just want to play by yourself and relax, but I greatly appreciate you. I say this to you right now, Charles. Charles, I greatly appreciate you coming over and playing Satisfactory with me, okay? I haven't told you this, but I greatly appreciate it because I really like Satisfactory. It's a numbers game. It's a puzzle game. I really enjoy it. I know that it's not your favorite game, and I know we got to do it again. And I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know, work has you down sometimes. You just want to relax. You don't want to think about numbers and have to use more of your brain after work. But I appreciate greatly that you are willing to sacrifice your own comfort sometimes and your own relaxation time to play video games with me to help me feel better. And I greatly appreciate that. And I don't think I properly articulated that. And so what we were talking about today is a lot of people struggle with porn because of stress. It's a coping mechanism with stress and a fundamental lack of attention. And the problem is me and you, we do this song and dance of oh, I love you, Pookie, or I miss you. Yes, we do this, and it is basic level of acknowledgement. We're taking it a little bit further. But what a lot of men need is something more serious, like what I just did, that little bit. My buddy Jonathan, he does that every once in a while, where he says, "I greatly appreciate you guys playing with me today," and that's the kind of thing that's just kind of intuitive for me, but articulating that just makes me feel so much better. And the problem with where we are right now as a society is that we don't articulate and go into detail about how much we care about each other. We just leave it at surface level of, I love you, or whatever. There's a phrase which is, the Greek have 10 different words for I love you or something. They have an agape love. They have this love. They have that love. And the problem right now in society is we have this fundamental inability to express how much we care about one another on a proper level. And so a lot of us turn to things like social media, which is naturally addicting. 7 or 8 meetings for love, yeah. We naturally turn to things like social media that end up to be super highly addictive because it gives you that instant dopamine hit. It gives you a little dopamine hit, which is the same thing that porn does, is it gives you those little dopamine hits. Oh, you're just feeling a little better, a little better, a little better. And it's just over and over and over. But at some point, you need more, okay? I don't know if you guys have ever played a MMO, but in MMOs, a lot of them, you know, you're just playing to make a number grow bigger. That's it. You're not really technically playing for anything besides to make a number grow. And making that number grow little bit by little bit is that little bit of dopamine hit. And you just need to hit it again and again and again. And so when you get on social media, instead of just playing an MMO to grind out your stats and then it maxes out at some point and that's you end. Social media is engineered in a way where it wants you to be addicted and to grow as much and strive to grow as much for advertisers. And so it is basically every single time you want that little dopamine hit, and then once you're burnt out on that little dopamine hit and you want more, social media gives you that outlet to keep growing and keep festering that beast of, I need more dopamine, I need another hit and another hit and another hit, that porn did. So even though, you know, social media is addicting and I'm not going to say it's as bad for you as porn, it is the same kind of thing. And it all stems from a fundamental lack of caring for one another as humans, a lack of love for one another, and a honestly semi-flawed language to express how much we actually want to spend time and care for one another. And that's the biggest issue, is we just don't know how to articulate how much we care for one another. And that's one of the big issues right now in society and why it is so easy. Because think of it like this. Who needs social media to tell you, oh, you're doing such a great job, or, oh, I love you so much, when you're in a relationship? Okay, if you have a girlfriend or a wife or a fiance, your girlfriend, wife, fiance, spouse, partner, whatever, is going to constantly be reaffirming you in unique and interesting ways. Their job is to make sure that you know that you are loved and appreciated. And when they stop doing that, that's when issues start. I think I need to go to the far other end of this highway for what I'm looking for. And right now as a society, so many people are like, oh, I'm an independent girl boss, or I'm just going to do my own thing, put my head down and work. And we're all kind of, oh, ads, I'll wait. I'll wait for ads. That's where I need to go. Lovely. I'm waiting. Let me know when ads are over. I'll get back into what I was saying. Back, ads are over? Okay. We fundamentally, as a society, due partially because of a flawed language system and just repetitiveness and the depression, we just haven't been giving each other compliments. Charlie Kirk once said that fighting starts when talking stops. You want to know what else starts? Depression and addiction and all these other really terrible things for your mind and soul. Whether or not you believe you have a soul or whatever, I truly do. And a lot of it stems from us just not wanting to talk to each other and show each other what we now classify as a society as a basic level of attention or affirmation or whatever. is not enough. It never was enough. It was never designed to be enough. And society is saying, oh, all that you have to do is just once a day say, oh, I love my wife to her. You know, oh, honey, I love you. And that's it. That's all I need for a relationship. No, there needs to be long, deep conversation. Okay. There needs to be a lot more dialogue happening in both your own lives and relationships with your family members. Just any kind of relationship in general. It's in the Bible too. That man is not meant to be alone. Yeah. Man, God, I like to make a lot of sexist and misogynistic jokes. I don't hate women. I gotta make that clear. I don't hate women. Like, I like to be like, you know, everything was good in the Garden of Eden. Then God made a woman and everything went awry. You know, she ate the fruit. She was given one job. Don't eat the fruit. She messed it up. Women can't even give them with simple tasks. You know, if you tell a woman not to eat a fruit and she screws that up, how are we supposed to allow them to drive? Women are terrible drivers. Like, you know, I like mild misogyny. I think it's funny. I don't hate women. Gotta specify that. I just think mild misogyny is funny. Anyways, it's the God made woman so that man would not be alone. And the problem is that between, you know, how do I phrase this in a way that isn't rude but very fundamentally true? I'm trying to think of this. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase something that is factually true in a factual way with not trying to offend anyone. And I don't think I'm going to be able to. So I think I'm just going to rip it off. Where is it going with this? It is hard for men to get in relationships with women. Even like born-again Christians. Because even though you can be a born-again Christian, and I have no problem with that, you know, I love that there are people like Silent Bell who, you know, no longer make, I don't know if she was technically making porn or like pseudo porn, but, you know, I'm happy that these people are no longer making porn. And, you know, this woman in high school or in college found the Bible and came to Christ, but when she was in high school, slept around with a lot of people. There's a lot of men that just aren't willing to be in a relationship with a woman that has a body count. Personally, for me, I don't count rape. Okay, rape does not count to a body count. Although I will say that if you claim to be raped on 18 different occasions, there's going to be like some doubt, you know. You know, like you weren't sex trafficked. You just so happened to be raped by 8 different men, all who were what you describe as rugged and handsome, while you were in your college phase. You know, I'm not going to believe you. You just had sex. You know, rape does happen, but having said that, women are the gatekeepers of relationships. They are. The problem right now is, as a society, is the women both value themselves too much and also not enough. Okay? There are women who did OnlyFans or anything like that and are now, you know, born again Christians, and they're like, why can't I find myself a good Christian husband? It's like, well, a lot of Christian men would rather wait a really long time, or maybe not at all, have a relationship with a woman. You know, either wait a really long time to have a relationship with a woman that's a virgin that never did that, then go through a woman that has. And there's a fundamental reasoning to this. And there's a couple of, like, weird, interesting facts that kind of help back this up. Like, there's always, like, the joke of, like, oh, how come all these single high schoolers how come all these high school people can get knocked up and get pregnant while they're in high school, while I'm over here in my God-loving relationship and I'm struggling to have my first kid? And there's a couple of reasons behind that. One of those being is because the more sex partners that a woman has, the easier it is for her body to get pregnant. The way that her body naturally attacks sperm starts to become dull the more sexual partners that she has had. So that's one of the reasons why. Recent studies have shown that women who have had several sexual partners, their children carry over traits from their prior partners. Even if they're not blood related, it is starting to be proven that a woman who had sex with, Joe Schmo, and then later on had a kid with Phil, some of Joe Schmo's characteristics, even years later, are starting to show in the kid of Joe from Phil. Even though Joe Schmo and Phil were like a year or two apart, some of those characteristics are trending over. And that's one of the reasons why, people don't want to get married with women that have already had several sex partners. Their body's immune system no longer fights pregnancies or bacteria the same way, which means they're more likely to get sick. Actually, I don't know if that part's true. I don't know if that's part true, but I do know that they're more likely to get pregnant. Like, that's why all those high school girls or college girls, how they're getting pregnant so often is because they're having sex with a lot of different partners. It's not about how many times you have sex, it's about how many unique partners. The more unique partners you have, the easier it is for you to get pregnant on like a fundamentally factual level, from what I've heard, from my little bit of research. And if it is easier for you to get pregnant, but you're also, carrying around pseudo personality types inside of you from your prior partners, is that kid even 100% mine if the kid's getting characteristics from other people that aren't me and you? Like, that's a very important conversation we need to have. And I'm grateful for people like, Belle, who, no longer doesn't. And Belle also never had partners, or at least not in her testimony that I watched a while ago. She never had sexual partners to my knowledge, besides maybe her one boyfriend. But even then, I don't think she did. But a lot of guys don't want to go for a born-again Christian woman when they know that they could get with a woman who is raised in the church for their whole lives and is a virgin. Because it's just better for us. Also, for women, there's this natural thing called coupling, which is for the first couple of people that you have sex with as a woman, your body makes these bonding hormones that makes you more attached and more likely to want to pursue your offspring and keep your offspring healthy, give them a healthy life, and all that fun stuff, okay? Your women's bodies are designed to attach. And when you have several sexual partners as a woman, those coupling bondings, they become dull and they don't fire as well. That's how these women are able to have several abortions and not feel any guilt. So they've cooked that bonding chemical that their brain naturally produces. Men also have a bit of an issue with that, and it can also stem from porn for men. But it just, our brains are hardwired a little bit differently. So it tends to be less of an issue with coupling, which isn't good. Pair bonding, that's the phrase. But yeah. Women are the gatekeepers of relationships. I can agree. I think any relationship needs to be mutual. I don't think the problem with some relationships, especially nowadays, is it feels very one-sided, Kind of like that image of like the queen and the jester dancing for the queen. It's like relationships these days. There's a lot of relationships that feel like that, where one party is just working so much harder than the other party for the relationship to last. And that's not healthy. A relationship, like I tell my grandpa, love is sacrificial. Maybe she doesn't like driving, and neither do you. But because you love her, you're going to drive her around, okay? She's your passenger princess, okay? Maybe you don't like doing the laundry. You hate doing laundry, okay? So she does the laundry instead, okay? You drive around, she does the laundry, It's about these compromise. Even though you don't like driving, you love her enough that you're willing to sacrifice that for her happiness. Or, I don't know. It's just there's a sacrifice. You got you're willing to give and take here and there. I help out my brother's wife. I do the cooking, and she does my laundry. That's kind of like just a deal that we kind of have going on. And you know, you can have a relationship where everything's just deals, but sometimes you just sacrifice because you love her. Okay, if you're not, you know, if your wife or your spouse should be a source of calmness, it should bring a source of rest, easiness, where you can feel unburdened. Okay, you can relax, you can calm down. Your job as a husband is to make sure that her outer world is protected. This would be house, car, job, money, groceries, that kind of stuff. Her job is to you know, make sure that the bills are paid, make sure the kids are ready for school, make sure everyone's healthy. You know, you guys both have a very important role to do, but you guys both do your roles slightly separately. Okay, they're different roles. Not saying that one's better than the other, but you as a husband have to sacrifice your time to keep your wife and your family happy. And your wife also has to sacrifice her time to keep her husband and the kids happy. You know, everyone's sacrificing a little bit here, everyone's sacrificing a little bit there. And you should never ask for something in return when you're sacrificing because you love them. And the biggest issue right now that I keep seeing is when one person is trying so hard to keep the relationship going and willing to sacrifice so much, and the other person hits you with but I never asked you to do that. That lack of communication, I never asked you to do that. Those are the heaviest hitting killers of relationships in the world. Dude, if I ever had a wife and she goes, but I didn't ask you to do that, when I'm sacrificing a lot of my life to bring her happiness and joy, that's it. That's GG. That relationship's over. It is cooked. Because my job is to sacrifice for you to keep you happy and to keep the family going. And if you're not willing to help work with that, that's a problem. That's where we are as a society. No one's willing to sacrifice anything. Everyone's just out for their own gain. Vanity of vanities is what your own gain will lead you to. Everything's just vanity. 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Was it every 7th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's on the 8th. That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But yeah, my grandpa recently told me something, and this explains a lot. My grandpa said he never sacrifices anything for anyone else. He says, I do what I want to keep me happy, or something basically along those lines. And I immediately realized that's why he's been divorced so many times. It's because my grandpa's not willing to sacrifice. And every single relationship, someone's going to be sacrificing maybe a little bit more than the other person. And you're never supposed to hold that over the other person. Love is naturally sacrificial. And if your love isn't sacrificial, is it really love? If it's conditional, love is unconditional. Your love should never be conditional. And if your love is conditional, is it truly love? And that's where a lot of people are. Like, we feel like our love is conditional. We're only able to be loved if we bring something to the table. And that's a huge, oh wait, oh, this is it. That's a huge problem right there. There we go. It's going to be the end of the hallway. But I don't know. I feel like I think I've talked about like a lot of different things relationship wise and like addiction wise, which is crazy because I'm single and I'm probably dying alone. But hey, Gronk here. You gotta be a little positive about it, bud. I don't know where I'm going with this. don't think these are directional. Not like that, at least. Am I out? Holy! That's a lot. That's a lot to go down that way. That's going to be a lot of fun. Because this is going to go all the way down, and I'm going to do little curved arches like this every so often. Like these ones, but miniature in here, I think. It's going to go down that way. Okay. While I'm thinking about it, we need to read our Psalms and Proverbs for the day. Psalms and Proverbs. Shouldn't take me very long. Psalms 13, 1 through 6. How long, O Lord, will you forgive me? How long will you hide your face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long will my enemies be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord, my God. Enlighten my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest my enemies say, I have prevailed against him. Lest those who have troubled me rejoice when I am moved. But I have trust in your mercy. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me. And then the next one is Proverbs. And dude, Solomon, I love Solomon. He's so, like, it's so over and we're so back all the time. It's hilarious. Oh. Sweet. Proverbs 3:16 to 18. Length of the days is in her wisdom's right hand, in her left hand riches and honor. In her are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. That right there, I was saying, wives need to bring you peace. Right here, Solomon, right? Proverbs Solomon, he goes, her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peaceful. If you don't find your wife that gives you peace, you did not find the right wife. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her, and happy are all who retain her. That's what I want. You know what? I think that's worthy of a Twitter post right now. Just a quick one. Just say, Proverbs 3:16 through 18. There we go. I want to put that out there because I don't want to forget to post that later. Because that is exactly what I was talking about. She needs to bring you an inner peace, and you protect her outer world, and she protects your inner world. And that is the sacrificial love that you guys are doing for one another. Just a little bit here, and a little bit there. And I'm going to sleep in game real quick, and then I'm going to go get some water. Water. Wait. Do that. And now this one? Yep. I don't know how I got an odd one. We have a plugin to make it even, but whatever. It happens, I guess. Bam. And then this one needs to go right back up in here. Here, let me go get some water. You've read several of those lately, dude. I'm kind of feeling it, bro. I just eat my pillow in the wrong direction. My elbow. Hey, do you guys like that I stream so late at night? Because a lot of people say I need to start streaming earlier in the day, but like, we have Zaf, Moon, Joker, Cielo, and all those people who stream earlier in the day. And like, do I really need to be streaming earlier in the day when they have that covered? I kind of get the night shift. Not for just like the crisis and peace stuff, but for like biblical content. Like Qua, which is Repent to Jesus, and Jate, we have like the night scene. For me, I'm out of work, so being up super late is kind of a norm. Alright. Because I prefer doing it late at night because like my dogs are sleeping now, they're resting, the birds are resting. My brothers aren't here to interrupt me, and you know, I'm just kind of here. You work the overnight shift, so it is okay for me. Alright. Because we're just kind of vibing. Also, I kind of have to do this as a bit of a shameless plug, but the Crisis MP community server, the whitelist will be removed once we hit 125 members in the Discord. So, join the Discord. Exclamation mark CSMP or Crisis MP, and then socials, and you'll get the link tree. And then just follow that. And if you want to play Minecraft once we get 125 members, we'll open up the whitelist so that it's not just people who are subbed. And I will be keeping it going until the end of Season 1. And if it doesn't make its own profit or become less of a financial burden on me, then I'm going to have to give it the axe. We can join even if we don't play Minecraft. That's the community server. And yes, you can join the Discord even if you don't play Minecraft. We're planning on having people host Bible studies in the Discord at some point. And stuff like that. More communal stuff. It's the Minecraft is like the youth group. Okay? Like, you know how, like, youth groups, they have the part that's, like, games, and then we have, like, the part that's, like, you know, worship and, you know, fellowship and stuff. That's what it is. Maybe we'll do, like, a worship karaoke night. I think that could be fun. But yes, you can join the community server or Discord even if you don't play Minecraft. The community Discord was built for the community to be able to interact with each other, because a lot of people who are Christians who watch these creators feel, I don't want to say, like, I don't want to get ever parasocial, but they feel like they don't have anyone to reach out to, and they don't feel comfortable reaching out to these creators. They don't know how to, or they don't know what to do. Some people are struggling with porn addictions or something. So we created the community Discord, and I forgot. I need to change something with how it's part of it's set up. But we do have a prayer team, and so if you need prayer for something that you don't want to publicly discuss, but you still want help about it, you know, typically porn addictions and stuff like that, because we are trying to keep the Discord family friendly. So if you need like a prayer request for like a porn addiction, and you need, you know, someone to help coach you through it and counsel you through it, we have people who are there specifically. Like, they joined specifically because I asked them if they want to be part of the prayer team and help people who are in need and don't know where to go. The ones I've been hanging out and around are Misty, Samson, and Frog servers. Samson has not responded to any of my DMs in a while. I'm kind of bothered about that. I know he's a very busy man, but come on, dude. Respond to my DMs. But, Frog's great, and I like Misty too. And, you know, Misty has a prayer team, and so actually the reason why Misty has a prayer team is because I suggested it to her. I said, hey, you should set up a prayer team because people keep on asking you for prayer and help in your DMs and you're getting overwhelmed. You should make a prayer team, and then you have a team to help you. I don't know if Samson has a prayer team. I know Hopeful Disasters has one. And I know that we have some people that are joining the SMP soon that are going to help grow this community. They said they want to see this community succeed. And so we're going to be trying to get more pastors and things going like that. But there's a lot of things that are just going to take time that we're trying to fix right now. And a lot of it's kind of scuffed. But I think as we go, this could be a great online outreach. Minecraft and content creation is the outreach. And then the fellowship and other stuff, the Bible studies and stuff, is how we lead you to Jesus. You know, my church does Jesus Pizza. Some people do basketball at their church or something like that, game nights or whatever. We do Minecraft. So I'm setting up like an online outreach ministry thing. And, you know, people question my leadership and doubt me, and a lot of those doubters are either gone or are starting to put more faith in me, and now that they've seen me improve and work on myself and work on this. But I truly think that this is a great way to bring Jesus to a lot of people who otherwise would never really hear about it. Kind of reminds me of Game Church back in the day. They're XP Church now after a rebrand. I never heard of that. That's cool. It's cool that there's other people doing it. I just haven't heard of it. Kind of think of like the Way Cafe guys, if you know who those guys are. I like them. But the reason why I made this is because of the, and I'm going to put this in my testimony in the world download, which will be public. You know, I don't really have a testimony. I'm still working on myself, so I can't quite say I have one. But I can definitely give my testimonial reason. I think you can have several as a person. As to why I started the Crisis MP and why it was founded and why I wanted to succeed and where I want to see it go. And I think that one I will put and type up. And I'm just going to do that when I finally feel called to fully type it up and give it a good go. Because I don't know how much I want to divulge in that. And how much I do and how much I don't. But I think I'm going to be pretty open with you guys. Tell you guys a lot of different things about why this is existing. And a lot of the issues I've seen. A lot of the problems I'm trying to fix. A lot of them, I'm literally just not going to be able to fix. You know, I can't fix that, you know, there's a lot of toxic people in the Christian content creator sphere. I can't fix people getting burnt out on Minecraft. I can't fix this. I can't fix that. But what I can fix is how I conduct myself and how I choose to grow this community. You know what? I got a couple of people who are helping keep my head on my shoulders and in the right direction. Because there's some times where I get a little off course. And then sometimes I'm just depressed, dude. Sometimes I'm just depressed and spending like a week off. Like, I didn't stream it all last week, Minecraft. So I was just kind of depressed and doing a lot of other server maintenance stuff. And I just didn't feel like playing. But hey, now we're doing pretty good. Can you move, guy? I don't want to kill you. You seem pretty cool. Chopping down the trees for today. But, I don't know. I think, what else is there to talk about? I think I've covered a lot today. A lot of personal stuff. And I think my advice was pretty solid. I don't know. I'll probably have, like, someone else go through this, like Randy or something. Randy's not here. Maybe I'll send him the VOD and be like, hey, I'll zoom in and skip in until we get to the more honest conversation and see what he thinks. Because that's genuinely where I'm at with a lot of things. And I like Randy. Randy's, I don't know how old he is. He gives off like 40-year-old vibes. So, you know, he's not old, but he's not young, you know. And I think he's got some good in-between wisdom that I can tap into. Because a lot of the wisdom that I'm getting is from, like, early to mid-30s, and I think I need wisdom of someone that's in, like, their mid-40s or early 40s. It's not my dad. You know? Something. Like, maybe later 30s, or just a different view on things. So, I like Randy. He's pretty cool. He's actually part of the prayer team. Yippee! I don't know if you guys know who Randy is, but he's there. Is this not... Like, what is going on here? Let me look at this. Does it need to be, like, inched forward or something? I'll be 36 in April. Oof! And you're single? By design or by accident? Single since high school. Oof. Borther. I thought I was cooked at 24. I'm not saying it's over for you, but like once you're past, like I know some people at my church that got married in their early to mid 30s. But after 40, if you're looking for single Christian virgin women at 40, that's slim pickings. I do know one. I do know a lady in my local area that is super sweet. That me and her did not work out because our personalities did not match or complement each other at all. Me being loud and outgoing, and her being super quiet and reserved. Opposites did not attract in this case. But, super sweet. I counted at a gas station last time I checked. She is there's a lot of times in life where, like, you know, there's a lot of things with that relationship that I will admit I messed up. I like dirty talk. That's not appropriate for a Christian. I'll admit that. I need to work on that. And so I don't do that anymore. And that's one of the things that really screwed up that relationship. But I also don't think it would have worked out in general because I like hugging people and, you know, holding hands and that kind of stuff. And she did not like physical contact of any kind. She was very no touchy. So I don't think it would have worked out anyways. But I definitely did things in that relationship that made it end faster. But I don't think it would have ever worked out between me and her, even if I didn't screw up so many times the first 2 months. But she's super sweet. She's super nice. And I'm hoping that she'll find a nice man. So, you know, it's not impossible. Because like I said, I know a lady that's, you know, single, Christian, female, virgin. Oh, she's single last time I checked. But I haven't checked in like 3 years. I did see her at the supermarket the other day. She seemed to be doing pretty good. And I am not doing great. She goes, "How are you doing?" I go, "Not good." She goes, "Oh, okay." I need more. I really thought this distance was shorter. Oof. This is to mine and Fenrir's place. If you guys didn't know, this tunnel is supposed to be connecting our 2 bases. So I'm going to bring it to here, and if Fenrir ever logs back in on the rest of the season, which I'm pretty sure he's quit for this season, and I don't know if he's coming back for season 2, his base is down here. So I might end up just connecting it myself. This is his base. So far. Yeah. He hasn't played since November. Or early December. Oof. Yeah. There's a couple of little iron golem goobers back here. And look at that. And And they're off. Come on, buddies. Work your magic. I believe them. But yeah. This is EP's bed. But she quit. I think the problem is a lot of people wanted to play Minecraft with their friends, and then like one friend quits, and then another friend quit, and then they just chain quit. It was lovely. But I got a couple of good people. I actually need to contact one person on the SMP who I give a lot of leniency to, but I need to, in like a year or going into season 2, I'm gonna have to ask him to like step up his game a little bit. But it's whatever. There's a lot of things that being a server owner of something like this is kind of interesting. But, I don't know. I'm just kind of going. I'm trying to think, what is the craziest thing that I've seen on this SMP for, like, people requesting to join? And we had one person join, and their pronouns said they, them. That was crazy. And was like, atheist, they, them. And they're like, can I join the Christ SMP? It's like, brother, have you read your own pronouns? That was funny. Alright, there's that stretch. Now I just need to go get even more. I'm trying to think. Where all of it? If you're a they, them, I need to get the holy water because only demons use those. Yeah. I think a lot of it is like cultural. I think a lot of them just say that because it's like, they feel like it's a club. Okay, everyone wants to be a part of something, okay? No one wants to feel excluded. That's a very important thing that a lot of people don't talk about. Is no one wants to feel excluded. There's like a song like that. What is it like? Nobody wants to feel like left out. Nobody wants to feel excluded. Nobody wants to be a nobody. A song? Nobody wants to be a nobody by Casting Crowns. Cause nobody. Yeah, let's. What was the lyrics of this? Is this what I'm thinking of? So, no, that's just, I'm just a nobody trying to tell somebody about somebody who saved my soul. No, that's not what I'm thinking about. That's not it. Nobody wants to be the last one there. Nobody wants to be the last. Gotta Be Somebody by Nickelback? Is that what I'm thinking of? Because nobody wants to be the last one there. Because everyone wants to feel like someone cares. Someone to love with my life in their hands. There's gotta be someone for me like that. That right there. That's a big issue. Everyone wants to find their tribe. Yes. So everyone wants to feel like someone cares. And for so many people that were neglected and depressed and abused, it is so easy for all of these slightly damaged or broken people to be like, oh, the trans community wants me. These people want me. I just got to say this. And I fit right in with all these other people. We as a church have done a very bad job at making people feel included and wanted. I'm not calling out like any denomination or anything. I'm just saying it's like a general whole. And that is a huge problem. Because as Christians, we're called to like be a light on a hill. We're supposed to help those people feel included, like they're wanted. Nobody wants to feel like no one cares. And us as Christians, we fundamentally fail at making people feel cared for. And that's not just like just a Christian thing. Okay, everyone fails so much and making other people feel like someone cares. And that is where we went down as a society. It's when everyone stopped caring. Isn't it crazy? I'm trying to pull wisdom from a Nickelback song. I may not know you super well, but I appreciate what you do. Thank you. See, that's like the little genuine compliments that like I don't hear very often. It kind of makes me feel better. And so, as cringy or cheesy as it may sound, bud, hearing it from a 24-year-old, finally fitting all the pieces of the puzzle together. But, you know, I'm not gonna tell anyone to give up hope. But what I will say is, you know, one of my friends says this all the time and it freaking pains me. You gotta be okay with being single, okay? And if you're not okay with being single, then there's gonna be a lot of issues. And I think a huge part of it is like, if you, I'm gonna paraphrase, and this might not be what he means, but this is what I'm gonna take from it. I think when he says you gotta be okay with being single, it's partially due to porn addiction. Because if you're struggling with porn, you're probably not feeling okay with being single. You feel like you need somebody. You need some attention. You need this or you need that. And I think when he says you need to not have that, that's what he's talking about. Otherwise, I don't know what he's talking about, and he's just being a turd. But, whatever. I'm just someone who's a little bit further down the road than you. You know what? We're all walking down the same road, and too often in life, we don't try and lift each other up to finish the race, but instead we drop each other by the sideline so we can finish it on our own. But what's the point of finishing the race if you're not finishing it with someone else? Clip it. Clip it. Motivational quote of the day. I pulled that out of thin air, but that's a quote. That's going somewhere. Someone clip that. I don't want to have to go back and clip it later at 8 hours and 20 some odd minutes. I'll put that on the community YouTube channel. Because I think that's one of my best quotes to date. I don't mind being alone, but I don't fancy being lonely. Ooh, that's a good one. Who'd you get that from? Did you just make that up? That's a solid quote. There's a difference between being single and being lonely. And the problem is for me, because I naturally don't like being alone, I naturally don't like being single. I'm gonna guess none of y'all clip that. I'll go back and clip it later. Because, man, was that a solid line? Dang damn it. I'm just gathering resources. We did the Bible Jeopardy, and I'm really happy that we worked on that today. Oh. Well, what do you know? You did Bible... Oh, yeah, Thunder. Thunder! Dude, this guy, he can come back, but his story is crazy. I go, Thunder, I haven't... Oh, who texted me? Oh, that's just the daily Wordle notification! Wordle's back, boys. I got you. Thank you. Oh. There's the link. Apparently, I don't allow my own links. Here, let me grab that link. I can copy it. I can view it even though Nightbot deleted it. I can view it. Let me go in the clips and paste that in there. Yeah, words of wisdom. Thanks, broski. Bad Nightbot. The reason why I have it deleting links is because there's a lot of bots that post like, do you want to buy viewers here? I just did what the man asked. You know what? I can probably turn that off on Nightbot. We have follower mode on now, so it's not an issue. Nightbot commands custom. Nightbots. Dashware logs. Let me check this. Commands. Dashboard. Chat moderation. We're gonna turn that off. Okay, now if you do it again, it should fix. Now that I don't like having follower mode on only, but I need to have follower mode on for that. But I'll turn that off. So you should be able to post it in chat again. If you still have the link. And it should work now. There we go. Huge. Fixed it. Didn't even think about it. See, no one clips any of my stuff besides myself. No, I don't need to send it anywhere. But yeah, I think every once in a while I have a good shower thought. I just, you know, it just only took me about 3 hours to cook that up. Oh, my back. Why does my back feel so tight? I guess I'm stressed or something. I don't know. I like to say, I have a phrase. I don't know how motivational it is, but I really like to say this. And it's, exist and persist. Existing is really easy. It's easy for anyone to just drink water, eat food, lay around the house, and exist. What's hard is to find the motivation and become self-determined to keep on persisting. Persistence means that you are working towards a goal. If you right now are depressed and you struggle with persisting, right now just focus on existing. And if you focus on existing and slowly start going for the persisting, at time it'll come easily and you will exist and persist properly. Something like that. I don't know. I think exist and persist is very important. Because too many people give up on the existing part. It's like, no, 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 no. Keep existing. We can work on the persisting later. Okay? You just need to focus on the first part. And I will help you on the second part later. Or someone will. Jesus will. One of the quotes I really like is from Bunny Girl, the anime that really messed with your brain. One of your favorite quotes is from Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai? Okay, let's hear it. I'm not judging. I find it humorous, though. Correct. I actually watched that because I had a foreign exchange student from Japan named, like, Yu, I think. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And he said he liked that anime. So I watched it because I was like, well, he's from Japan and he likes the anime. So I might as well give it a shot to better understand Japanese culture. And I'm watching it subbed and I'm like, I am completely lost here. I do not know what's going on. I can't tell up from down, left from right. I was so lost. This just... I need a lot more prismarine blocks. That's what what we're gonna be working on now. So what is your favorite quote from Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai? Please inform the class. I know it might feel like I'm poking fun of you a little bit, which I am, just because I think the name is funny. I know excuse me. I know it's a very serious movie or show that talks about social issues, but the name's just wild. I think Sakuta-kun, what I think Sakuta-kun is that life is here for us to become kinder. I live life every day hoping I was a slightly kinder person than I was the day before. That's not bad. The other day, Dino Quarty came all the way from the far off land of Canada, and he was traveling around the world, okay, or the United States, and he stopped by my house and we watched a movie. And the movie is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And I really like the movie, and I'm gonna pull up its quote. A few blocks away, exactly. You know, just down the road, right in the bayou. Let me. The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Quote. Or meaning of life. Quote. So the iconic meaning of life quote for The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. Okay. Oh, you were there for the Uno game with Lark? You were acting with her for a while? Yeah, Dino came. It was pretty nice. I was expecting for him to show up on Wednesday, so that threw everything off. But the quote of the meaning to life, and I agree with most of this. I truly believe that the meaning of life is to more or less work on yourself, but the true meaning of life is to form a relationship with God. Some kind of positive, relationship. Okay, that is the main thing that you need to work on. But I really like this quote. To see the world, things dangerous to come, to see behind walls, to draw closer, to find each other and feel. That is the purpose of life. I would say all that, but it's to draw closer and to find each other and to find God. You need to find God. You need to find Christ. That is the purpose of life. To see the world, things dangerous to come, see behind walls, draw closer to Christ, and to find others and feel. That is the purpose of Christ. That is what I believe. Oh, I don't know if you said that you were in the... is that it? Yeah, there you go. There's the link tree to the Crisis of Peace socials. I didn't know if you wanted to join the Discord or not, but we are there. We hang out. Me, Random Hobo, Fixum, Mikey, sometimes Lark. I'm trying to get one other guy, which was one of the reasons why I made it. Mallow. He's pretty young though. Like I think Mallow, his age is younger than the age gap between me and you. But Mallow's chill. There's this interesting concept online that I have a love-hate relationship with. And the concept of we need to make the internet kid-friendly. It's been a good session for the night, but I'm going to go out and get some rest. Okay. One last thought that I have before we wrap things up, because it's been about 3 hours. There is a thought and a comment going around where we need to make the internet safe for children. And it's we as a society need to make the internet safe for children, or it's parents need to raise their children to be safe on the internet. And this is what I have to say about it. Okay? You don't think the internet was designed for kids? I don't either. This is what I have to say about it. Is when I was a kid growing up, I had Minecraft and Club Penguin and addicting math games. That was like my internet. But like socializing wise, it was Minecraft and Club Penguin. And both those games are heavily moderated for it to be child friendly. Okay? Nowadays, people have Roblox. And the problem with Roblox and Omingle, which I also had, but, you know, we didn't really use that much. And a lot of the things about those sites, is that they're not child friendly. They never were meant to be child friendly. Too many people just go, oh, it's just Mingle. It's for friends, or whatever. You know, it's the whole debate with, like, how a whole bunch of people saw the movie Sausage Party in theaters with their kids. It's not a kid's film. Is a lot of it falls on the parents, but a lot of places that were designed to be safe places for kids, like Club Penguin, no longer exist on the internet. Okay? You don't really have addicting math games. You don't really have, or addicting math games or cool math games. I can't remember which one it was called. You don't have Club Penguin. Minecraft, a lot of people aren't really playing Minecraft, but it's still there. You know, it's kind of on the wane right now. And, you know, now you have tablet kids where everything's ADHD addicting and shorts and stuff. There's no longer these places for kids. And so part of the Crisis MP is for a place for kids to come and have a safe place online. I don't want all of the internet to be a safe place for kids. I don't think it ever will be. And I think the way that people want to implement that is all bad. But I want there to be places like Club Penguin for kids to have back. Because I had Club Penguin. What do kids have these days? Their equivalent is Roblox, and we're having, you know, grooming on it. You never once heard of grooming on Club Penguin because you only had like 8 prompts you could talk from. Okay? And that's what I want with the community Discord. Is a place for kids to come and play Minecraft and be fine and not have any issues. And a place where Christians can come together and grow and worship the Lord. That's what I want. So, we'll see. But, if you're about to head out, then I think that'll be most people. If no one else chats, then we'll just be grinding away a little bit, and then we'll wrap up stream here shortly. Let me see. There's one Christian content creator that I know of that's streaming right now. So I might look into some others to raid into. Have a good one, man. I'll catch you later. See you later, broski. You've been on a hill stream. Thanks, Cole. What? It's been a hill stream? Did you typo there? Is that supposed to be a hell of a stream? A chill stream. That makes so much more sense. Yeah. I typically... Later at night, I tend to be more chill. You know, I did have a Dr. Pepper a few hours ago, but it's not that much. I like to be more chill. But I'm like a weird parasite where I'm going to be more energetic the more people I'm around, naturally. But I do like these more chill streams at night where we can have more serious and honest conversation. And go into depth about things that I feel very passionate about that I don't think that we talk about as a society enough. And I tried doing this a while ago with a different SMP, and I called it the free SMP, where I just wanted people to talk about whatever they wanted, politics, whatever, the Lord, Christ, whatever. I didn't really have an idea for it. And now I have what I want. I finally figured it out after all these years. I want a place where people can talk about Christ, openly talk about Christ, and want to talk about Christ. And talk about Christ a little bit every stream. So when someone comes by at some point or reviews the VOD or whatever, they know that you love Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ loves you. And there's a huge community that wants you to know that and wants to share that with you. Who is spamming my DMs? What is going on? I got it. I genuinely don't know because my streamer mode's on, so I can't figure out who that is. Holy. Okay. I'm gonna react to that in a moment. But let's read the last little bit of the New Testament, and then we will end the stream. And we will raid out to someone. I'm gonna scooch away from this so it's a little bit less noisy. Okay. Matthew 10:24 through 11:6. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor is a servant above his master. It is enough for a disciple that he be like his teacher, and a servant to be like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they call those who of his house? Man, how much more will they call those of his house? Therefore, do not fear them. Do not, for there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known. Whatever I tell you in the dark, speak in the light, and whatever you hear in the ear, preach on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. And hell back then was Sheol, which is the grave. I don't think hell was actually a word that they use. I think this is a translation thing. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them fall on the ground apart from your Father's will? But the very hair on your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore you are more than the value of many sparrows. I know I'm trying to focus and finish this, but I also need to clear that. I'm getting 1-line paragraphs. My Discord DMs are already at 8. 10 seconds. Holy. Therefore, whoever confesses me before men, him I let also confess before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, him I will also deny before my Father who is in heaven. Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemy will be those of his own household. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take up his cross or follow me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. He who receives you receive me, and he who receives me, him who sent me. He who receives a prophet in the name of prophets shall receive a prophet's reward, and he who receives a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whoever gives one of these little ones a cup of cold water in the name of a disciple, assuredly, I say to you, he shall by no means lose his reward. Now it came to pass that when Jesus finished commanding his 12 disciples, that he departed from there to teach and preach in their cities. And when John had heard in prison about the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said to him, Are you the coming one, or do we look for another? Jesus answered and said to them, Go and tell John the things which you hear and see. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf are hear, and the dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he who is not offended because of me. And that is another day of a Bible in a year. And now, I will clear that, and we will go and raid out. Let's go see who has a Christian tag on Twitch. Let's search, browse, tags, or categories. Christian? Let's go to Minecraft, and then search by tags. Tags. Why is XQC streaming Minecraft with femboy tag? Christian. Okay, there's one person we're gonna raid, and I have no clue who this chick is. So we're gonna give it a shot. They have the Christian tag. What? I can't raid them? Okay. Christ, no. A Christian gamer? Christian streamer? Okay. Well, we're just gonna read the other guy then. Am I spelling his name right? We're gonna read Toothless Geek. This guy I've met, or I've talked to a couple times. Super nice. Thank you, Maximus Thrax, for the follow. And thank you, Streams with the Jedi, for the follow. I think I already thanked Audio Runner for the follow. Much love, greatly appreciated. I stream Monday through Friday in the PMs of the PST. And if I don't see you guys again tomorrow, hope you have a good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Goodbye.